evening viewers and welcome to the Art with World. I am your host Arshad Waheed. Today we have a very distinguished guest with us who is a poet, translator and prose writer in English, Urdu and Punjabi languages. In addition to that, she is an accomplished painter, porcelain painter, and she also works in ceramics. There are more than 25 books to her credit, and she is also member of Punjabi Adbi Board, former chairperson of literary group of Asian Study Group, and vice president of Pak Hungarian Friendship Society. Welcome to our show, Sarwat Sahaba. How are you?
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm fine, thank you.
There are so many fields of art where you have excelled in all these years. So where to start from, I think?
It's up to you, whatever you want.
Okay, we can start just in general terms. What were your initial interest in art, different forms of art, whatever?
Actually,
if you could, and also you could share with us, with our audience, your journey in art and some of your brief life history.
Actually, from the very beginning, as a child, I was very interested in painting, and I used to paint a lot. In school, I was one of the good ones whose paintings used to be sent for exhibitions and all. But to tell you the truth, I never knew that I will ever write poetry. But I think I can now, at this age, with all my books, I can pinpoint exactly where my early childhood memories come in my poetry. So basically, I am a poet, because a poet and a painter, of course, because they are not two different things. It's the same thing. Whatever you do with colors and paints, you do the same thing with words. But I have always been very interested in nature, and I have been very close to nature, and I have always been attracted by colors. So much so that so many things I come to know through colors. You know, colors can, like once we were talking about music and somebody was explaining to me how the different rags go, I mean, take the different. So I could only visualize when I saw them as colors, as in rainbow. You see, they merge, become a new color, and then become the new color. So I have, I mean, been painting ever since I was a child, but poetry was much, much later.
So did you learn painting while you were a school student?
Yes, in school, I went to Queen Mary's in Lahore. And apart from our curriculum, our normal studies, the compulsory things were sports, swimming, painting, embroidery. Can you imagine? So in school, we were taught this, and dramatics. So this was part of our growing up. So I never
you grew up in Lahore.
I was born in Lahore, and I went to Queen Mary's. And while we were growing up, it's very interesting that at home we spoke Punjabi. My parents and my siblings, we all spoke Punjabi, all our relatives and everybody in the house. In school, we were totally Angrez, you know, because it was a British school. We spoke English all the time.
It was convent, I guess.
No. It was a rival school of convent. They are together, they have the same wall, but one side is Convent of Jesus and Mary, and the other side is Queen Mary's. Queen Mary's was not a convent school, not at all. And but as I told you, I have been painting since childhood. Two things which I always say is that I don't ever remember a time when I couldn't swim, for instance, because at the age of 4 we were pushed into the pool, you know. So I don't even remember if there was a time when I didn't know how to swim. It's the same way. I don't even remember when I was not interested in painting, painting itself or colors or nature or whatever. So this is it.
So you were just talking about your school in Lahore. Just tell us
Yes.
what was the Lahore of your childhood and what influences it has on you as an artist and as a person.
It will be interesting for you to know that right now, these days, I am writing my autobiography. And as I was talking to some friends, and I said it's not just my autobiography. I'm recording the social and cultural history of Lahore. Because when I grew up in 50s and 60s, generations of today, even my own children and grandchildren, they don't even have any idea what Lahore it was. And unless you have this personal experience growing up with those things, with all those festivals like Basant and Chiragon ka Mela, you know.
Mela Chiraga.
Mela Chiraga,
Festival of
yes,
Lights
yes.
on
So,
Shah Hussain.
Yes, when you grow up with those things and small things like what I have written about, and then I thought of it that today's generations, they don't even know what it means to have a wedding at home. And inside the walled city, and also where my grandparents lived in an area known as Christian Nagar. Now the name has been changed, like so many other things. But in those places, it was so interesting. I have written in detail when my mamu got married. I have written in detail how things were taken care of and how everybody participated and how food was taken to the rooftop for ladies.
Okay.
You see,
And it must have been very peaceful times. And,
very peaceful, very peaceful, really. Actually, if you talk about peace, it has been going from bad to worse.
Yeah, we know that.
So they were very peaceful times, and as I said, so much depends on your childhood. So I remember my childhood to be very diverse things, like, as I said, speaking 3 languages. I grew up with all 3 languages because in school we were totally, English, and socially we used to speak Urdu, and at home it was just Punjabi. So for me, switching over from one language to the other was not an issue at all.
Then how did you find a poet in yourself, and what's this story?
This is also connected to my painting.
Okay.
I got married very early, after matric.
Oh.
I never went to college.
Okay.
After having my 3 children, when my friends finished college and university, that is when I realized that, I was a jahil. So I went to my mother's house one day with my third child as a baby in my arms, and I went to her and I started, almost fighting with her that why did you marry me at such an early age, and I was quite furious. So she kept on listening to me very calmly, and then when I had finished, my temperature had come down, she very smilingly just said one sentence, and she said in Punjabi, "Ki eddi kedi gall hai, tu hun pad le." And that
I mean, you can start your studies now.
So what?
Nothing lost.
So what? If your friends are finished, you can study now. You can. This is not something which you can't do. And that one sentence changed my life. So I thought, why not? So I came home. I had my background from Queen Mary's in English literature, and I was a science student. So I just appeared for just like I was living with my in-laws at Jail Road, 49 Jail Road.
And you wanted to hide it.
I didn't want to tell anybody. So I couldn't even have a tutor for me to teach me, and I had no idea how much we have to study because I had never studied in college, So I depended on my own and I used to study at night secretly.
Then you did,
And then I, when I, obviously with English literature as my solid point. So when my result came, I had, high second division, 15 actually marks less than first
okay,
division.
that's fine.
So I was so excited, and I actually, Arshad Saab, I actually thought at that time that how can children fail in their studies? After studying 2 years in college, how do they fail? I did it in 3 months, but I relied on myself. So, of course, then I did my BA, and then I used to paint, as I have told you. While painting and while studying history of art, I wanted to study history of art as a subject, because I was used to studying on my own. When I was doing that serious job, studying, I actually got a book of history of art from London, like, we used to go to Sweden all the time. So when I was studying that, suddenly a thought came into my mind, and I just scribbled it on the paper. And it was a poem in Punjabi.
Okay.
Now, to tell you the truth, I didn't even know whether the spellings were right or not, or whether the words were actual Punjabi words or Urdu words. I had no idea, because I had never studied Punjabi literature as such. We never, I had never studied anything, I have never read anything written in Punjabi. So, but I used to scribble down, and this kept on happening. My book, Kaniya,
Yeah.
this kept on happening for a year and a half, until I realized that this is a process which is going on inside me, and I have no control over it. The poem used to come, and I used to write it down without really knowing whether the spellings were right or whether the word itself was right.
And you
Then
found your expression.
I just thought they are my feelings,
Yeah.
and it's all in this book.
Yeah.
Nothing has been changed.
Okay.
So when I thought that it is something which is not stopping, so it's a process going on. So I went to Najm Hussain Sayyid, who is my brother-in-law.
Oh, he's a great Punjabi poet.
Yes, but
I think he's the best in our times.
exactly, and not only poet but critic.
Yeah.
I mean his level is way above. But the interesting thing is that at home I used to speak Urdu to him, because socially,
Why it is so that you have to speak Urdu socially while you live in Lahore? You
Oh
are
my
a Punjabi
God,
family.
this is the problem of our country right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Why was Punjabi not put in schools? Why weren't Punjabi children taught in their mother language? And the result is that since whenever you are away from your mother tongue, all your roots, all your culture comes to you through your mother language. And all our folk tradition, all our Punjab's history is all in these folk songs and the works of our Sufi poets and the legends. It's all that. When you deprive the new generation from all this, they lose their identity. And that is the biggest problem of Pakistan these days, because the younger generation, and in younger generation I count my own children and my grandchildren, they have lost touch with their roots and their identity. That is why this youth of today is confused.
But haven't they found some new identity?
How can you have any identity?
Well, that
With-
can
with a-
transcend borders.
Yes, transcend borders, but you have to have your roots somewhere. You have to know your history. Nothing can be understood without understanding the history of a place. You have to know who you are. And from centuries, what culture has been here and how it has been transmitted to the next generations, because it was oral tradition.
Okay.
Books came very late. It was all orally transmitted, and that is what I count as knowledge. Like for example, if I know somebody who has read Heer in its original form, I consider that person to be educated, whether or not he has been to school or not.
And interestingly, you have translated this Heer Varisha into a long English poem
Yes,
as well.
actually,
So that's a great experience.
I love doing it,
Okay.
because I had studied the original text with the person whose name was Muhammad Sharif Sabar, who had spent years of his life on research. So I read the original text with him, like discussing every word, not every line, but every word of the text. So when I was asked by Oxford University Press to do a simpler version, or just to introduce our classical poets, they have done a series. They have done Bhitai and they have done so many others. But in Punjabi, they wanted me to do a Varisha, so that the university level students, they are introduced to our classical poets. And if somebody gets interested after reading this, then he or she should read the original text. So this is a very brief introduction to Varisha with the story, just the kissa, and not too much complicated philosophy, because I mean, here Varisha is something you can, there are volumes and volumes written about it in English.
But
also.
even a common man can enjoy Heer Varisha, and a very learned person in a different way, maybe. But everyone has some linkages with the story and the culture, the language it's telling.
Exactly, because it is such a comprehensive, it is known as Encyclopedia of Punjab.
Of course,
which it is. But in this, I have just very briefly written about the story itself, so that to get the children interested in Heer Varisha. But I did it poetically.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It must have been very difficult.
No, actually I found it easier. I wasn't told to do it poetically. I was told just to
narrate the story.
Narrate the story in simple words for university students.
Okay.
When I started doing it, I found it much easier to do a poetic translation rather than writing prose, because that's how I am, you know. and actually I have kept the meter of Varisha. It sung in that, but the meter itself of it has very long lines, you know. So I have just instead of 2 lines, I have used 4 lines, breaking it. But the meter is the same. So, but I really enjoyed doing it. It was such a pleasurable experience for me.
And I think you were once telling before Heer Varisha, you read the other Sufi poets. Right?
Yes. Coming back to when I was scribbling my poetry, not poetry, but my thoughts, because I didn't even know exactly that whether it was, you know, real poetry or not. But I used to write in Punjabi whatever came. So coming back to that point, when I knew that this is a process which is not stopping, you know. So and interestingly, nobody in my house knew that I was writing any poetry. My husband.
So first you keep everything secret and then let it out.
No, it wasn't secret. It so happened that my husband was representing Swedish industry here. So he had a very busy office time, and then children were old enough to go to schools where I didn't need to help them with their homework, because I was a teenage mother, as I told you. So I had all these hours in the morning which I spent reading history of art, and in result writing this poems. So we had very busy evenings. In the evenings it was family time, or else we were either going out for dinner or having people over for dinner. So there wasn't enough, I mean, time or importance for this, that I have written something, you know. I didn't give it any importance. But after writing almost all poems in this book, Kanya, then I went to my
Kanya
brother-in-law.
means drizzling.
Kanya means raindrops.
Raindrops.
Kanya,
Yeah.
Kanya. The sound is a stronger one. It's not Kanya. It's Kanya. Like in Punjabi, you never say pani. You say pani.
Pani.
And so many other, like
Yeah, I
ghe, kar. We say kar. We don't say ghar. You know. Although in some dialects you do. Anyway, then I went to my brother-in-law, as I told you, Najam Bhai, and I asked him, I said, because I thought I should study the language in which I am writing. So I asked him, I said, I want to study Punjabi. So from where do I start? And he just looked at me and he said, "Tonu ki hoya hai?" You know, like, what has happened to you, you know? So I said, I actually write something in Punjabi.
Okay.
So he said, show me what do you write. So next time I went to Lahore, we were living in Islamabad.
So you were telling he asked you to study like
No, then he asked me to show me what I was writing.
Okay.
So next time I went to Lahore, I took about 10-15 of my poems with him, poems like on different pieces of paper with the date written on it. Out of habit, I used to write date. When I showed them to him and I said that I want to study Punjabi because I'm writing something, he suggested, he said, I said, where do I start from? And he said, Shah Hussain.
Oh.
He just said Shah Hussain. And I said, okay. And he went to his next room. He brought a book of Shah's Kafis by Shah Hussain, and he gave it to me and he said, you start from Shah Hussain because this is the language you will know the best, because he was from Lahore. And then you read Baba Farid and Khwaja Ghulam Farid afterwards, because that you will find difficult. So I just got the book. I came back to Islamabad. When I studied Shah Hussain, that is the moment I studied his poetry, I realized that what am I doing, you know? Why am I going round everywhere? This is where I belong. So I studied Shah Hussain. Whatever it was, the language was not difficult, but even then, whenever I had to ask something, I called Najam Bhai and I would ask, or when I used to go there. So I asked. So then, I mean, that just became my life.
Okay.
You know? I studied Shah Hussain, Baba Farid, Sultan Bahu, Waris Shah, not Waris Shah yet, but Khwaja Ghulam Farid and Bulle Shah.
Yeah.
Bulle Shah. And then I wanted to read Heer. So that is when Najam Bhai introduced me to Sabar Saab, and I studied Heer. So this is how all my journey towards. But the interesting point is that after reading all this, Sabar Saab just said to me when we finished, he said, I'm writing about it, you will read it in my he just said that if I tell you something in Punjabi, he said, Bibi, kuch kawa te gal manoge meri, ke will you listen to me if I tell you to do something? And I said, why not? You are my teacher, you can, you know, you just tell me what to do. And he said, you go and appear for masters in Punjabi literature. And the word he used was, "Akkhan band karke imtihan de do." That you just, I mean, just go and take the exam. So then I did my masters.
Okay.
But the surprising thing for me was that after doing my masters in Punjabi literature, I did not have to change a word from my poems.
Oh, great. Can you just share your some
this
of translation of some of your poems?
translations,
Yeah.
not Punjabi.
Of course.
Yes, okay. But I tell you, this is the power of your mother language.
Oh yes.
This is what bothers me now most of the time, is that people, especially our younger generation, are not aware of what treasure they have in their mother language.
Oh yes.
And
that's
that is
true.
why they don't take pride in it, and that is why they are confused, and that is why they don't have any identity of their own.
Yeah. I have read this your book Magde
This
Tare. I
Magde
think.
Tare, this is the latest.
Yeah. And your first book was
Kaniya, raindrops.
Raindrops.
Kaniya means raindrops.
So anyone, and you have also translated. You have also written.
I have translated
Tappe, which is
Mahiye,
very
Mahiye.
which is very
which is the
peculiar
same thing.
Punjabi form
It's
of.
not, but not peculiar, but one of a very important folk music that
Okay.
we have, folk songs.
Okay.
And we have so many. I mean, our lives are connected with poetry and music. You know, Punjab has been for centuries like that.
Yeah.
Other provinces also, but
yes,
but
yeah.
I can only talk about my own. So we have songs from the very beginning, like when a child is born, we have loris.
Oh, it's in every language.
Every language.
Lullabies.
Yes, lullabies, and but that is what I want the younger generation to know, how closely we are connected to nature. Because it does not matter what language you are, every mother sings to the child. Every mother. This is inherent in human beings. This is why it is so, is because there is music in the nature.
Okay.
There is music in everything. Everything goes, you know, there's a rhythm. There's a rhythm. You only have to listen to it.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
and starting from loris, then we have songs for these. Every game in Punjab which has been played has a song connected to it.
Okay.
Like young girls, when they are doing kikli, you
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
it means. They cross, you
kikli,
cross your
I know.
hands and you go round and round.
I've played it with my sisters.
Yes, and there are special songs. You might know the songs also
Yeah,
if you have
Kikili
kikili. Huh? Every stage of the life of human beings is connected somehow with the songs. So loris, kikili, gidde, there are special songs for giddas. For weddings, there are songs for khara. Is a rasam before
Khare charna.
khare charna,
in the,
yes,
in the
yes,
marriage
yes,
ceremonies,
yes.
The
and,
groom.
and yes, and then there are doli chadde mariya hi chika, which is not varisha, by the way. and then there are songs for ghodis. They're known as ghodis. When the groom gets onto the horse, the sisters, you know, hold the reins of the horse, that you have to give us money before you go. You know, it's called lag. Lag dena hota hai behnon ko. And you won't believe it, that we even have songs for death. They are known as syapas.
Syapa, yeah.
Syapa is so from
And
child.
what is Gidda?
Gidda is a dance like bhangra and luddi. Gidda is a dance which is played by all age groups.
Okay.
Like kikli is only
For girls, young girls.
for young girls, for very young girls. And then mahiyas, tappas are for older people also. But Gidda is very interesting.
It's celebration?
No,
something?
it's a dance which is usually danced in moonlit nights in villages, and women of all ages, from young unmarried women who are, for whom the songs are for their lovers, you know, and then the same songs mean something else for the sisters who are singing for their brothers, or the married young girls who are singing for their husbands. And then the older women who are singing for their sons.
Okay.
So this a gidda, the word gidda itself, if you just say gidda, it means the whole span of a woman's life.
Okay.
There are so many interesting things and which people need to know about. Why are these things and why are we not connected to them anymore?
But before we start discussing something else, I would like to hear from you some small poem and some mahiyas you have translated.
Okay. Some of my poems have been translated into English by Muzaffar Ghaffar.
Oh, he's a great,
And
I met him.
Yes, a very good friend.
He has written long books on...
Yes, he has written 6 volumes in English on Heer Warisha,
Oh, great.
which is a reference, which are reference books for the research students actually. So
But maybe let's just...
some of them I have translated myself.
Okay.
So I can just Mahiya, by the way, is basically a Punjabi folk song. But Haiko, the Japanese form, when it was brought into Urdu, I mean people started writing Haiko in Urdu. Then
It's
some
3 lines.
it's 3 lines, and Mahiya is also, they look very similar. Mahiya is also 3 lines, Haiko is also 3 lines, but they are totally different. One, they have different meters.
Okay.
They are different in meter, and the other is in the content. It's totally different. I can't explain it to you without examples. But Mahiya, in Mahiya, one of the 3 lines has to be connected with your culture. It has to be part of your cultural living, and then the philosophy comes into it. So I'll read one Mahiya.
Yeah.
In English, it's not the same as Punjabi or Urdu.
But since Mahiya is just 3 lines, you can read in both languages.
Yeah, okay. But this book, this one, it's called Do Phool Khile Mahiya. When I was asked to write in Urdu, and they wanted to publish a whole book, so there are 250 Mahiyas which I wrote in Urdu, although it's a Punjabi. This Mahiya is, because it's in Urdu, the book is in Urdu Mahiyas. It says.
But do you have English translation as well?
I have English translations, but you asked me to read the original since it's 3 lines.
Yeah, but original is always in
Urdu. No. This is the whole point. Mahiya was introduced into Urdu.
Okay.
Our folk songs are written by women mostly, but they evolve through the centuries. So there is not one poet who can be named that such and such poet has written Mahiya or Doli or Tappe or whatever, because it's a collective feelings of women evolved through centuries. So in Urdu, it was a conscious effort, So this says, छोटी सी बात हुई, दोनों हार गए, और बाजी मात हुई.
Wow, beautiful.
So the translation is, on frivolous things, we parted ways, and both became losers.
Yeah, beautiful.
So this is what another poem. Actually, it's a small poem in Punjabi which has been translated by Muzaffar Ghaffar.
Okay.
I don't have to read the Punjabi.
No, it's okay.
So it says, like a waxen candle, I keep on burning.
Beautiful.
Like a waxen candle, I keep on burning. Within the glow of inner fires, drop by drop, I melt.
Wow.
Within the glow of inner fires, drop by drop, I melt. My own form churning, in my form transforming.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. It's beautiful translation,
Yes.
of course.
And one more,
Okay.
slightly longer.
Yeah,
It's-
but
it's-
we are
it's-
running short of time.
Okay, all right.
Maybe
But-
if it's 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll try to read it
Okay.
quickly. It's called The Dream.
Okay.
I have translated it myself.
Okay.
The dream. This dream, the life, is dear to me. And in the dream, with wide awake eyes, I behold misty images.
Yeah, beautiful.
Searching for the meaning of life all the while, for truth and for reality. Building relationships, cherishing friendships, bonds of love, understanding.
Yeah.
Treading the path through the journey of life with dear ones close by my side. But I do often wonder when the dream is gone and I wake up from the slumber. This dream, this so dear to me, this dream of mine, will I forget or remember?
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you.
I think there would be, if I read it in Punjabi, it would be more
Yeah,
appealing. Yeah, but still very beautiful translation you have done.
thank you.
In coming to another genre you have tried, that's travelogue writing.
Yes.
I mean, it's amazing that you have been doing painting, you are in ceramics, you have been writing poetry, you have been translating, and then you wrote this travelogue. Just tell me a few things about that.
I'm writing it in Punjabi.
Oh, that's
This is the
this is
travelogue.
your
Yes. This is
travelogue.
my travelogue. It's
your
called
travels in Sweden.
yes, not
Raat.
travels really. I'll tell you. It's called Raat Ki Dhoop because all this northernmost area of Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Russia. There they forget about which country it belongs to. It's known as Lapland. All the people living in this northernmost region around the North Pole, whether that land belongs to Sweden or Norway or Finland or Russia, the land is called Lapland and the people living there are known as Laps.
Okay.
This is the area where in summer for 3 months the sun does not set,
Okay.
and in winter for 3 months the sun does not rise, it's
Yeah.
dark. It does not rise during those 3 months. So as I told you that my husband, I mean we have a firm representing the Swedish industry here, so we had to go to Sweden many times. So I have been to Sweden as many times, like, I mean, I would say that I know Sweden and Swedes as much as I know Pakistan and Pakistanis, because I have been there in every month of the year, and I have spent like whole summer there in many years, and then I have lived there like during the summer. So living means doing everything, groceries, cooking, I mean, and we have lots and lots of friends from all my life.
Well, I
Since we
read it,
started
it's
this.
very interesting.
Yeah, yes, and the way it was started is very interesting. You must have read it in the beginning. That two of my friends, very close friends, writer friends, who are prose writers, they were sitting with me, and on the television there was some documentary shown about Lapland and Laps, and they said, oh, look at these people, and you know, they were getting very excited, and I said, I have been to this place. And they said, really, how come? I said, then I told my experience of going to Tromsø, which is the northernmost part of Norway, and experiencing, I wanted to spend a night there. You know, so I told my husband, we must go there for 2 days. I want to see the midnight sun, you know. That is what the book is called, Raat Ki Dhoop. So we went there for 2 days, but I always say that we were there for 3 days because the night was not the night.
Yeah,
It was bright sunshine, so bright that we needed to have dark glasses. So this is.
Yeah. And so you have also been writing children books? I
Children
think?
books and translations also. I have
Okay.
done Hungarian poet
Okay.
Sándor Petőfi,
Okay.
who was born in 1823, and I have translated his work because the Hungarian ambassador asked me to do it in Punjabi, not
Okay.
Urdu.
Okay.
And then, okay, now we are short of time, so
No.
I'll talk about my children's books. Yes.
Maybe you can show one of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
These are the 2 books which I wrote for Oxford, but I have translated about 16 children's books into Urdu and Punjabi from international stories.
Okay.
This
It's a
is
great contribution.
I think we have to work on our children.
Yeah,
We
of
have to work on our children. For any nation, it is so important that children should be educated properly, and it is through stories that they learn a lot. Now, this is called Pani Ki Kahani. It's about the whole cycle of water, not just the cycle of water, but also through the story, children come to know about the ocean life also.
Okay.
Because when it comes to you should read it.
I will
this
sometime.
this one is called Shahad Ki Kahani.
Ah,
This is about the world of the bees,
okay.
and this again was you must have
Yeah,
read it in my childhood when I was
Yeah.
10 years old. I was bitten by lots of honeybees. So this
So you
actually
must have grown very healthy after that.
no. I am glad that I didn't die, because there's so many in my head, and we were 4 girls in schools. We were who were.
No, I'm just saying
bitten
it
by-
might be swelling
it-
around. Yeah.
Swelling, not only swelling, it was like 104 temperature for 3 days, and people can die, you know, with too many bees stinging them. Through that poison, people can actually die. So we were lucky, all 4 of us, we survived. Young 10-year-old girls.
And you
But
immortalize that into
no,
your book.
not that. But that was the basis of my interest in bees.
Okay.
So this story is about the world of the bees, and I tell you, Arshad Saab, I think human beings, we have to learn a lot from the world of the bees.
Okay.
There is so much if we just follow them.
Yeah, there. I mean.
In one beehive, there are about
Yeah.
60 to 80,000 bees,
Oh.
and there are different kinds of bees. One is a queen mother, and all bees are her children. But there are different classes in them. There are
Yeah.
worker bees, they are soldier bees, they are nurse bees,
Okay.
and nurse bees, they just take care of the larva and they feed them, the babies, inside those hexagon rooms of their of those babies. And the worker bees, their work is just to take care of the hive.
Okay.
Whenever there is a damage, and then there are soldier bees, and soldier bees recognize each and every bee from those 80,000 bees who belong to their own hive. If some other bee comes, they protect their hive.
Oh.
They won't let anything.
Okay.
And then the worker bees are the ones who are collecting nectar from, and imagine how much nature teaches us to share. Bees produce honey in 3 times quantity as is their need.
Okay.
And so what they need is, they need 1/3 and they leave 2/3 for us human beings.
Well, there you are. You have so many things to talk about, and they are so interesting. But can you just briefly tell us about your interest in porcelain painting and
Porcelain painting,
ceramics?
yes,
yeah?
yes,
Just
yes,
briefly.
yes, yes. As I told you, I have been interested in painting. So we were once in Sweden, and we were there for 3 months, like the whole summer. And my husband was busy, and my children were also, you know, as children are. So I had enough time to do something. So I inquired whether they were having any classes. So I came to know about these porcelain painting classes and I joined them. For 3 months I did that course, and in this you just take the factory finished product and they are small enamel paints which you paint for the time of painting, and then you need firing. So I did that, and I have made a lot of porcelain painting, and I have done ceramics. There are 2 different lines, but I do ceramics also, which I did in Lahore at Shahzad Alam studio with a ceramicist, a British ceramicist who had come. She came here and she had a workshop for 3 months. So I worked with her and then kept on doing these.
Okay.
So,
So you didn't lose any second of your time? And
no, I
you
didn't.
just invested
Honestly, I
in
didn't.
different art
To tell you the
forms,
truth,
did a
because
lot of
all these things in addition to all my duties as a wife, as a mother, and as a daughter-in-law, I have never even left anything out.
Well, this is a great life.
Well,
We can't ask more than that.
I can't ask more. Honestly, I'm so thankful. But you see, this all depends on your thinking, and if you are organized and you think about your priorities, and you have to keep a balance in your priorities. You see, if I'm just a poet, I'm not supposed to leave my family. My family life is as important as my being a poet or a painter. So you have to sacrifice, like I have sacrificed my sleep. I have been working at night, I have been studying at night because I didn't want to neglect any of my duties.
Yeah.
So, but that is also, I think it's a blessing. I must, again, it's your outlook of life. If you have a positive outlook, you can manage things. If you have a negative outlook, then you are just complaining most of the time.
Yeah, I can understand that. So thank you very much for being with us this evening. It was wonderful talking to you.
Thank you for inviting me. And I love talking about my poetry and painting in any case.
Yeah, I think
Thank
there
you
should
so
be
much for
some other
having me.
time we should talk more about your.
Yeah, actually,
But you have done so many things, it's difficult to encompass everything in one
yes,
session.
I know. And actually, each book needs a whole session
Yeah, of course.
because there's so much
Yeah.
which has gone into these books.
I can understand.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed.
Me too. So viewers, thank you very much for watching us. See you next Sunday, same time.